Hold your employees accountable. When we come back, I'm going to explain to you the things we do to hold our employees accountable. Okay, to begin with, you need to establish some company policies in your business. If you're growing your business, you're adding employees, you're going to want to have some good policies set up right from the get-go of things that you're going to allow them to do and things that you're not going to tolerate. Okay? An example might be of things that you would allow them to do. Let's say you allow them to smoke their cigarettes in the trucks, never out on a job site, things like that. You could maybe have them take a half an hour lunch or an hour lunch, or maybe you just have them eat their lunch in between jobs on the road. Maybe you allow them to work late if they want to, or to come in early if they want. Some of the things that we don't tolerate in our business is being late to work. That's something that's very hard to do, especially the bigger you get. It's not so bad when you first start out. I mean, you still, let's say say it's just you and another guy, and he's always late to work, so he's always slowing you down. So you can imagine what happens after you get multiple crews, and you're dealing with 15, 20 guys that come into work, and if a truckload, say you've got a crew of 2 guys waiting to go out, one guy's there, the other guy isn't there, so you're still paying those guys to be there. And if they're not showing up, that's just something we don't tolerate at all. So they got to be on time to work, first and foremost, okay? Ending the day early. Now, this is something that's unique, and probably you should do a video all on its own about this, but when you pay your employees either salary or you pay them by the hour, this is something I've seen happen a lot. You'd pay the guys by the hour, so this is one of the experiences that I've had. So pay them by the hour, suddenly they're working 70, 75, 80 hours a week, okay? You turn around and you say, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pay you guys salary now. So what they started doing when we did salary was calling in 2 or 3 times a week, coming to work late again, ending early was a big one. They'd always want to be on the road, headed back to the shop at 4:30 or something. So those are the problems that came along with the salary thing. It seems like for whatever reason, when you're paying them by the hour, they're there all the time and putting in a ton of hours. But then when you switch it and pay them salary, well, then they start to figure, hey, I'm getting salary anyway, so yeah, I got to call in, I'm sick today, or I had to take my son to the doctor. Always one excuse after another, and you're going to have that, okay? But so you just got to kind of figure out what works for you and what works best for you. If you're on the job with these guys all the time, you have to make that decision, how much you're going to tolerate. But I just don't tolerate a lot of those things in our company. So I don't tolerate anybody taking the work trucks home. So all of my vehicles come back to the shop every night. That's where they stay. I don't provide the trucks for the managers to just take home and run all their errands on because it's more expense for you, okay? I think you're better off to pay your managers a little better, and that means a lot to them. People, it seems to me, people don't realize the benefits, the little things you do for them that actually cost you money, like letting them take a truck home, for example. All right, it does cost you money. It's more wear and tear on your vehicle, and to them, it's just, okay, it's some sort of an added little bonus, but it really doesn't register in their head how much it actually costs you to allow them to do that. So I would rather pay my managers more money because it's right in front of their face. It's something they can see every week, okay? The smoking thing. A lot of our guys smoke cigarettes, and I used to smoke too, and I would never smoke out on the job site. I would always go back in the truck or something and have my cigarette break there, especially if you're working on big commercial projects where these guys are out there for countless hours. I mean, they've got to have a break somewhere and go have their smoke. I understand that, so I just tell them, hey, just go to the truck. That's where you have your cigarettes, inside the truck, okay? Excessive call-ins is something I don't tolerate. So you will find that, especially when you salary people, you will find that they more and more call in. and I'll allow them to maybe have 3 days during that week or during that month, possibly 4, just depending on what's going on. But if anything after that, I really have an issue with, you need to organize your time better and, just be on time to work, organize your time better, plan the things you have to do in your own personal life for the weekends. I do the same thing. That's when I catch up on my stuff on the weekends. So I expect the same from my employees. Stealing is something I will not tolerate. So I don't think anyone should tolerate. I have been around it so much and seen so much of it that you just can't put up with that. So you got to find ways to stop them from doing that to begin with, and if you can't, then you need to just get rid of these people. So honesty is another thing. So if, for a good example, just the other day I had a situation where my guys didn't trim around this house. So I went to the house, I took pictures of it where they hadn't trimmed alongside the buildings and everything and the flower beds. And when I confronted the guys about it, the guy says, "No, I did it. And I took him right out there. I said, "Get in the truck, we're going for a ride." Took him out to the job site, showed him that and said, "Okay, you're going to tell me that you actually did this?" The guy sat there and told me I did it. I'm showing him that he didn't do it, and he still stuck to his guns and told me he did it. Well, the grass along the house doesn't get that high when your lawn is this high. So I ended up letting him go because I just won't put up with that dishonesty. You shouldn't either. Hold your guys accountable. You need to hold your managers accountable. Same thing. If you have guys that aren't getting the work done and you get on the managers and say, "Look, they've got to do a better job here. Complaints are coming in. You need to stay on these guys." So if your managers continuously can't find the solution, they keep talking to these guys and talking to them and they can't get the problem solved, then the manager needs to step in and start firing these guys. Okay, if he can't get them to listen, he needs to go. And you've got to make sure your managers follow up on this stuff, because a lot of times they'll talk to them once and then it's kind of out of their head and they just leave and they don't pay attention to the details. They don't come back behind the guys and actually check their work. And that, to me, is a huge mistake. We give them hit lists, things that have to be done, and we make sure they get done. So you've got to follow up behind the managers, make sure they're doing their work, okay? As you grow your company, your roles will change a lot. So instead of, for example, me being in the trucks all the time, I love being in the trucks, but my role has changed to the point where it's very hard for me to be in the trucks a lot, and now it's a lot of office work on top of that. And that's where you delegate things to, like, your, as you grow your business, you'll have a secretary and eventually, and they'll take a lot of that burden off of you so that you can concentrate on growing your business, which is what you should be doing. So hopefully I've been able to shed a little light on some of this, and if you have any comments, feel free to leave them below. Thank you.